Dad's dream to talk about his favorite team with the son of digging the stats. Come and join us, nerding on the Dbacks.
Hello, welcome to Nerding on the Dbacks. I'm Son/Phoenix.
Yeah, and I'm Dad/Chris.
And this is the best
And only
father-son baseball show.
in America.
They don't got this anywhere else in the world. Let's go with that.
This is the only place.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny. We could go with Nigeria.
Nigeria, sure.
All right, yeah, they don't got this in Nigeria. So, since you're here, please, we would really, really love it. It would make such the world of difference to us if you would like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, or channel your inner kindergartner. I shouldn't say or, but most importantly, channel your inner kindergartner.
And share.
That's right. So please, I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know. We're going to cut that sentence off right there. But if you're joining us for the first time, rather than discuss individual games or series, we kind of look at the bigger picture and we value performance more than production. And we're going to kind of just jump into it here because it's going to be a little abbreviated. And we're going to talk recent Dbacks. It's been kind of a rough go here recently, sort of. Depends on your time frame. They've gone 3-4 over the past week. This is what we're going to focus on right now. And they had one game of that wraparound series versus the Dodgers, then 3 versus the Giants, 3 versus the Astros. And to talk about how the team did in those games, we're going to have Phoenix with this classic
Hot or not? Who's hot and who's not?
That's right. And we always got to start with...
I said it's getting hot in here. So hot.
All right. So, Phoenix, tell us who over the past week has been hot.
Well, who has been hot? Our starting pitcher is Merrill Kelly,
Woo.
who has been hot. He has 7 innings. He has 7 innings pitched, 2 runs, all earned.
Both earned, yeah.
Both earned. 8 strikeouts, 0 walks, and 0 home runs.
Yeah, he had a sick game. Sick game. Here's the best part about Merrill Kelly. You know how we've been talking about Merrill Kelly and needed to get his velocity up since coming back? He had it up. He got it back up over 92 versus the Giants. And if he can stay over 92, his velocity over the last couple of seasons, when he's kind of turned it around and become really, really good, he has been sitting around 92.2, 92.3.
He put back on the glasses.
Yep, he
The
put
skull
back
and
on the
bones.
glasses. Yep, the skull and crossbones. Yeah, Merrill Kelly has been fantastic. He basically looked like the guy that we want starting game 2 of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so if he can, I know the Giants aren't a very good lineup, so there is some fungibility in these numbers. In that he probably won't throw 7 innings with 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks, and no home runs versus a lot of teams. I mean, you put up a line like that against most teams, and they're not going to score, frankly, any runs without giving up a home run or a walk. The likelihood of anybody just scoring against you is so low. So I think that's probably. It's probably a little bit, the performance is about as good as he's going to get and what we hope he is going forward. The production, probably actually a little worse than normal. Do we have a cat in here?
No, she's outside.
Yes, okay. I thought I heard her. So, yeah, but Merrill Kelly, I hope he keeps up this kind of performance. Again, don't need the production to look quite this dominant, but definitely the performance is what we're looking for. So who do we got for our hot reliever? I feel like this one's obvious. He has been the hot reliever pretty much since he's been picked up.
The tallest leprechaun in the world,
Leprechaun?
AJ Puck.
No, the tallest Amish man.
Well, he looks like a leprechaun.
Interesting.
He could star in the Lucky Charms commercial.
He's too tall.
Well, they can shrink him.
Yeah, I feel like this is like a...
Visual effects are really, really good now.
He's the buddy elf of the leprechauns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buddy leprechaun. Buddy lep. Go ahead.
or a Dbacks.
Yeah.
He has a 3.1 innings pitched, 0 runs, all earned,
That's awesome.
6 strikeouts, 0 walks, 0 home runs, and his whip, his whip is 0.30.
I actually wanted to ask you this. Do you know what whip is?
It's where you go, whoosh.
That's true. It means in baseball terms.
How, like your whip when you throw the ball?
No. Though I like that. That's not bad either. It stands for WHIP, WHIP, walks and hits per inning pitched. And so usually
gonna
like
remember
league
that.
average is about a 1.2, I want to say. And so maybe a 1, actually I bet
Oh.
it's probably around a 1.3. And so if you have a whip, we just added this in because I think it's a really good predictor of future results. And so that he was at a 0.3 whip is pretty ridiculous. That means you're almost never even letting anyone get on base, much less score.
Just stretching.
Yeah. Ooh, I like it. I like that stretch. That's a good stretch. Good stretch for those of you on audio only. He's wearing the nerding on the Dbacks shirt, and he was stretching out to let everyone see. So, well, what do we got here next?
So for the hot hitters, we have Eugenio Suarez.
Woo, Suarez, electric. What do we got from him?
He has a 1.364 OPS.
Yes.
26 plate appearances, 1 double, 3 home runs, 4 walks. 4 walks, 9 runs, 4 RBIs. And that's it.
I mean, what a line. He has been so terrific. He got moved up in yesterday's batting lineup to 5th. That's like the highest he's batted all season. It's so weird how, I know I've mentioned it before, but when he was struggling, he was batting I shouldn't say highest all season, but highest he's batted in the lineup in a long time. And he was basically batting 5th and 6th in the lineup all season while he was terrible. And since he's become like one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball for the last 2.5 months, he basically can't get above the 7 spot in the lineup. It's so bizarre. So yeah, like I said, the one knock I really have on Torrey, because everybody knocks their managers. Every fan base knocks their managers for pitching decisions, like bullpen changes, when to take out the starters, when they leave them in, who they match up out of the bullpen, all that stuff. Every fan base thinks their manager is a terrible manager when it comes to the pitching staff. And so it's impossible to really, it's so hard to gauge the usage and how that compares. I mean, 90% of a manager's value has nothing to do with what they do for personnel decisions during games. It's just, it's almost all the stuff that goes on behind closed doors that we just don't see. That said, one thing I would like Torrey to do more, because this is what a lot of teams like the Twins, the Yankees, the Astros, they are using kind of rolling performance metrics for like the last 50, 100 games to determine where they're going to move guys up and down in the lineup and where they're going to bat them. And it's hard to criticize Torrey for just sticking with it the way it is, because they are the best offense in Major League Baseball this season. So, I mean, maybe he has optimized the lineup, and I'm just talking about something that doesn't matter. Yeah. And I'm mostly talking about something that doesn't matter. But optimizing your lineup could potentially bring you, I know it sounds crazy, as much as one more win on the season, which does not seem like much, but one win could be the difference between playing games in October and sitting at home. And so maybe it is something that they could optimize for.
So for our second hitter,
with a legendary day yesterday,
we have Pavin Smith, and he is the first hot guy to have a 2.3 to 323 OPS.
Yeah,
highest-
that's the first time we've had a guy start with a 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
All season, yeah, on the hot list. That's an impressive. I mean, it's due to one game, but wow, was that a game and much needed.
He had 11 plate appearances, 0 doubles, 0 triples, 4 home runs,
4 home runs.
2 walks. Oh, I thought you were going to repeat after me. So 5 runs, 9 RBIs.
Yeah,
Just want to let that one sink in.
And
One stole a base.
yeah, even stole the base. Yeah, Pavin Smith had a legendary game yesterday. He hit 3 home runs. I think he drove in 8. So yeah, just wicked good. And I said it before, and certainly this is the case now for Pavin. If you want to take Pavin Smith since they acquired Josh Bell, I didn't look this up, but I would not be surprised if Pavin Smith's OPS since August 1st versus Josh Bell's OPS with the D-backs. I bet they are pretty darn close to each other. And Pavin Smith is having a really good season for the type of player that he is. He's been a solid left-handed bat versus right-handed pitching. Very, very solid. So that part's been awesome. I'd love to see it.
So now we have to deal with the ice babies.
Okay.
Now we have to deal with the ice babies. Yep.
All right.
So for the starting pitcher that is cold this week, it's Eduardo Rodriguez.
Ooh. That's my new cold song. What do you think?
Sure. Sure. 8.0 innings pitched, 8 runs, 7 earned, 2 strikeouts,
Yeah, rough.
5 walks, 1 home run,
Yeah.
and his whap is 2.38.
Yeah, just a rough game. We got to have Rodriguez bring in a better game than that. If he's going to be in the playoff right now, I mean, he's definitely looking. Because these guys are coming back from injuries, I kind of vacillate back and forth from this, but he is definitely the fifth man. I mean, the one thing I've been pretty consistent about for the last month or so is that when the playoffs start, the way these guys are pitching, it's looking like it's probably going to be Gallen 1 and Nelson 2 and Fott 3. I think obviously if Kelly, and I always said if Kelly gets himself back into playing shape, like his numbers are looking like he's in midseason form, or I guess in 2024 parlance, early season form, because he came out of the gates just so dominant this season.
Yeah.
That he'd be the 2-man and Nelson would go to 3. And I hear some people talking about that they would rather have Fott than Nelson go. Just that playoff experience is super, super important. And the thing is, Ryan Nelson got some playoff experience last year as well, not just Brandon Fott. Also, Brandon Fott was a rookie last year. He had never pitched in the playoffs, and he arguably had his best 4-game stretch of pitching in the playoffs as a rookie with no previous experience. So I just don't give much credence to that. I would ride the pitcher that's been the hottest and the best for the team going into the playoffs. And at this stage, that's absolutely Ryan Nelson. Even though he had a rough start versus the Astros, that's nothing to be ashamed of. The Astros were the popular preseason pick to represent the American League in the World Series. And so it's not really a surprise that offense is absolutely insane. And all the pitchers pretty much struggled against the Dodgers offense. So, nothing to be ashamed of there.
For the relieving pitcher who's iced out, we got Ryan Thompson.
Yeah, we saw that one coming.
1.2 innings pitched.
That's all he completed.
4 runs, 4 earned, all earned. 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, 1 home run, and his whip is 4.80.
Yeah, they are smashing Ryan Thompson right now. Absolutely smashing him. So I hope he can get it back together. He's a better pitcher than he was not. He he's not as good of a pitcher as he had been for the first like 4 months of the season, basically. But he's not as bad of a pitcher as he's been for the last week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks of the season. He's somewhere in between. And so this is just kind of what we refer to in the industry as a regression to the mean. His numbers have kind of fallen back now to where he probably has some, I guess you could call it progression to the mean, however you want to say that he should be looking a little bit better. But Ryan Thompson's not this bad. He's not a pitcher who throws a 1 ERA, even a 2 ERA. He's probably a true talent, somewhere around like a 3.5 ERA kind of pitcher. And so it's been really rough, but that's what pitchers do. They go 4 months of throwing a 1.5 ERA, and then they go a month and a half of throwing a 5 ERA, and it all balances out to about a 3.5 ERA. And that's pretty much what he is.
Yeah. All right. So for the iced out hitter, well, there's 2 hitters, but we're just going to start with Adrian Del Castillo.
Yeah, Adrian. Adrian, tell us this line.
He
This
has
is
a
rough.
.500 OPS, .500 OPS. He has 14 plate appearances, 1 double, 0 home runs, 0 walks, 0 runs, 0 RBIs.
Basically nothing else.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he had a double, and that's about it. Yeah, so Adrian Del Castillo has certainly cooled off. Teams have kind of gotten the scouting report on him and are hitting his weak points. On top of that, one of the things, because of just the way that the schedule worked out, he had to face a lot of those plate appearances came against left-handed pitchers, and being a left-handed batter, he just got carved up against those guys. And so I don't think this is like a true talent example. It was just kind of a scheduling thing where they just faced so many lefties that they didn't want to have Herrera keep playing in all of those games. So they put Del Castillo in for a couple of them. Plus Herrera got hurt one game. And so which I haven't seen any update on him. I hope he's all right, but it's just been a rough go for Adrian Del Castillo, but I don't think it's representative of who he is as a player.
Yeah. For our next iced out hitter, we have Josh Bell. His OPS is .504. He has 19 plate appearances, 0 doubles, 0 home runs, 3 walks, 1 run, 2 RBIs.
Yeah, this is Josh Bell. He is an incredibly streaky hitter. Like as good as I would argue that he's an even more streaky hitter than Lourdes Gurriel is, which is kind of nuts. And the overall package comes out to about the same level of production as well. He just plays a bad first base versus a good left field, and that's basically the difference between them. And that's why Josh Bell's probably going to be searching for a 1-year contract at a low value versus this next offseason versus Gurriel, who got a multi-year deal. And so, yeah, I hope, I wouldn't expect a ton from Josh Bell from here on out, especially with Walker back and Pavin Smith hitting pretty well. Josh Bell might be the odd man out. He may not even be on the playoff roster. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me if he wasn't. I think he will be, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's not. So that's it for our who's hot, who's not.
Yeah.
You know, those cold boys, pick up that game. We really need you. Really need you. Come on, boys. You got it in you. I know. Certainly, of all these guys, Del Castillo is the guy I'm the least worried about, which is weird to say. But just the circumstances around his poor performance, it makes it unlikely to continue. So that's it. We don't have a lot of time here, so we're going to speed run through a bunch of stuff. It has been a relatively tough stretch, and by relative, I mean they're a 500 team in September so far. The issue is the last week of August was really rough. They're 5-10 over the last 15. That's the start of the Mets series, and honestly, it's not a terrible stretch in the context of who they were playing over that time. It came against the 2 most popular picks to go to the World Series in Major League Baseball, and the Dodgers and the Astros. And then they played the hottest team in Major League Baseball in the Mets, who have gone 11-2 over their last 13 games, which is an insane run. I've seen some discussion about September collapse going around on X versus talking about the D-backs. They did have that really rough stretch, but 500 in the month of September is not really a collapse. 5-15 or 5-10 is a rough go, but they're tied for the third best record in MLB over the last 20 games and the third best record over the last 30 games. They play the Dodgers, Phillies, Orioles, Yankees, Guardians, Astros. All of the best teams in Major League Baseball all had multiple 10, 12, 13, 15 game stretches playing under 500. It happens during a season. It just, and the great thing about the D-backs stretch of poor play is that it's against teams that are really, really good. So that you lose those games is not, it would be worse if they were going through a stretch of going 5-10 versus we'll throw the Giants in there, but then teams like the Reds or against someone like the Tigers or the Red Sox, like that would be really disappointing if they did that. But that it's against all teams that are going to be in the playoffs or are fighting for a playoff spot is not that huge of a deal. Going to the reason for their mediocre play, it's not the offense. They are actually still the highest scoring team in Major League Baseball over their last 10 games, which is kind of incredible. And pretty much however you want to slice the last X number of games, they've been great. Their offense has been solid. They haven't missed a beat. It's really the pitching. Their ERA over those last 12 games that they've played is the worst in Major League Baseball. It's dead last, and not by a little, nearly a full run worse than number 29.
Dang.
That's a lot of runs. Their starting pitchers have been very bad at 24th in ERA over that period. Again, that's versus the Dodgers and the Astros, who are incredible offenses. And then, but the relief pitchers, they've been dead last with a 9.53 ERA over that period. That's crazy. They're giving up more than a run an inning. Holy banana balls, Batman.
What?
That's it. 29th is about 1.5 runs better per 9 innings pitched than the D-backs have been. And they've been so bad. Puck has been amazing. Supermart has been okay. Pretty much everyone else has been their worst versions of themselves. And yes, it's hyperinflated by the Dodgers and Astros. Again, I keep going back to these are like two of the 5 best offenses in Major League Baseball that they've been facing. It's like having to face the D-backs. Their offense is just, almost as good as the D-backs are, pretty much within the margin of error. So it's likely that the D-backs or the relief pitchers are all going to regress back to their mean, meaning their true average. And it might be that they're getting it out of their system now, and with everyone kind of failing altogether, which is funny, except for going through it. And then they all get back to what their normal numbers are, and they look like the mediocre bullpen that they are again for the last week or two of the season. That's kind of what I'm expecting. That's usually the way that it works out. So they just finished up what's certainly their toughest stretch of schedule on the season. They played the hottest team in Major League Baseball, followed by the 2 most popular best team in baseball picks before the season started in the Dodgers and Astros. And the schedule gets a little bit easier, but not incredibly better. They play the Brewers for 6 games here in their final 18, which is weird scheduling that they're playing 7 games against the Brewers, that they're playing them an NL Central team with so many games in their last 18 is very strange. And then they have the Padres to finish the season. With those 18 games left, 10 are versus NL playoff teams. Those are the Brewers and the Padres. And in general, they've had a tough finish to the season. 19 of their final 30 games of the season were and are against playoff bound or playoff competing teams, if you include the Mets. That's a really, really tough stretch to go through to finish the season. You like a little more of a cakewalk to get into the playoffs during September. But it's going to test them. They're going to be, if they make it through this and they are still in a wild card position, they are going to be well suited from that September run to make a nice run through the playoffs. So what are you looking most forward to? Sorry, I took everything over there, Phoenix, for those last 10 minutes. Just had a lot to squeeze in. What are you looking most forward to here with the D-backs for the last stretch of the season.
I'm looking forward to Marte and Walker to get back to their normal form in time for the playoffs, because I want to see Walker hitting a bunch of home runs against
and Marte,
everybody.
frankly. Yeah, both of them. They haven't looked great since they returned, which is not a surprise. They both had little to no rehab or like games going on. They just pretty much joined the major league team. So I get it. And then I really want to see this bullpen get back to normal. It is a little concerning, but I think that they can, if Thompson and mainly Thompson and Ginkel can kind of get themselves back straightened out, they'll be sitting pretty well for the rest of the season. And, frankly, Montgomery's been a really, really nice addition to the bullpen for this team. He's pitched pretty well in 3 extended appearances. And so I've been liking that, saving that bullpen. So with that, please like, comment, subscribe, rate, review. Most importantly, channel that into kindergartner.
And share.
That's right. Just send it to one friend, one family member. Just shoot a link over to them in a message with this video or audio pod, and we would appreciate it so much if we picked up another listener or viewer because of you. And with that, please
take it away, Limerick.
Yearning! Under!